Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Late Winner Show. Today is a very special episode for us. Hosting the channel is a Manchester United fan, and we have two Liverpool supporters. So hopefully, we'll have a very good discussion. We'll have some fights for you to boost our channel as well. But I welcome Shivangi and Nidhi from Menace in the Monk. Welcome, guys.
Thank you so much.
Hello, thank you for
Yeah,
having us.
yeah. So basically today, obviously, as you know, it's all going to talk, we're all going to talk about Liverpool
Yeah,
and their season's expectations. I think Virgil van Dijk has come back into the training, into the team, and I think he played also in one in Hertha Berlin's loss on Thursday, I think.
yeah,
So we're going to discuss more on what the season expectations are, Jordan Henderson's contract, and obviously Klopp has now a defensive dilemma, which he also had last season, but it was a very different type of defensive dilemma that he was facing. So let's get started. Let's get started on that. So we saw Virgil van Dijk playing in Hertha Berlin's loss, as I mentioned.
right.
I'll keep mentioning the loss just so you guys are aware of that. So he played against he came from the bench, and after 285 days he came back and started playing for Liverpool. But what did you guys make of the performance? And actually, what do you guys think, coming from such a serious ACL injury? What do you guys
Yeah.
think in terms of what will he bring back to the team? Do you think Liverpool will still be that same defensive structure that they had previously, or do you think that there's going to be some kind of time that he will take? Because after when you come back from these serious injuries, it usually takes some time to get back into the groove after you get some match fitness. Anyone, if you can get started on this.
Right. Shivangi, please go ahead.
Okay, so what I feel is Virgil is just not a player who is here for his defensive skills, but his also leadership skills and captaincy. The composure, the confidence he brings into the team is always appreciated. And right now, he is not going to be rushed to because we do have a second centre back with us. We did sign a new player, and that is going to cushion him into getting in started. And everyone, like even Trent's response and the whole team was very happy and confident that a major key is back.
Yeah.
And his performance can't be judged by just few minutes of the game in a friendly, of course. But we do feel that Klopp is going to get him in properly, and it is going to be ending up nicely for us, better than what we had last season or before that. So yes, it does seem positive to me, and there's no negative as such to it right now.
Look, here's the thing, right? Now, if you talk about the technicality of it, defenders, when they come back from injury, it takes a certain amount of time for them to get into the groove. Now, Virgil van Dijk, talking specifically about him, you're talking about the defensive unit. One thing
Hmm.
we have to understand is that it's not just Van Dijk coming back from injury. Gomez is coming back from injury. Matip is coming back from injury. Konate is an absolutely new player,
Okay.
right? So I'm not expecting things to be hunky dory right from the start, right? There has to be a little bit of an adjustment, and that's expected purely because of the nature of the kind of player Van Dijk is. One thing about Van Dijk is now people talk about his sprints or his interceptions or things like that. Here's the thing: Virgil Van Dijk plays the game much better in his head compared to almost anybody in football
Hmm.
right? So that's his major strength, right? And by the way, this is not my line. This is something that Stephen Brennan has mentioned on our podcast. So I'm just borrowing this line from him. Now, but the point is that Van Dijk, I'm not worried about him as much as him being the same player because Van Dijk plays the game a lot better in his head as compared to a lot of his contemporaries, which rely on physical skills or sprints or something like that.
Hmm.
But there has to be a little bit of an adjustment period in the defense, when the season starts.
So and you guys mentioned about the new signing, Konate. He's joined obviously from Leipzig for a 35
Yeah,
million pound fee. Now I mentioned about the defensive dilemma that that Klopp had in the previous season. What do you think in terms of this season? Like, do you think like just because of Van Dijk coming from a serious injury, does he play right from the start? In the I think the Premier League starts next week, so in the next week's game, or do you feel like he will slowly integrate him into the team, or do you feel like Liverpool need to again challenge for the title this season, and they need to get the start? They need to get the start, like they need to get the fast start that they need.
Look, there are a couple of questions in there. We absolutely need to challenge for the title from an
Hmm.
expectations point of view. Now, coming to Van Dijk, I don't think Klopp will start him straight away because Klopp likes to protect his players when they are new or they are just back from injury. The good thing right now here is that even if the four options that we don't that we spoke about, even outside of that, we have Nat Phillips who has adjusted well to the team, right?
Hmm.
He knows how to play with that particular team. So I don't see Van Dijk starting straight away, and that's a smart decision actually. But again, I mean, there are 2 weeks to go in the Premier League. Um, Anything can happen, but I can say with about 80-85% confidence that Van Dijk wouldn't start against Norwich.
Okay, so
So,
we
and
have
go ahead.
okay,
Sorry.
so sorry. So yes, the way we plan and we win our title that we did was always on week by week basis, right? So it is not like for a fresh and strong start we need all our great players to start once again. The first match is against Norwich, which we don't usually in our
Usually
proper
lose.
heads
Yeah.
need a proper A class team there. I'm not going to jinx it, but we can he can have some minutes and he can't and he shouldn't be playing 90 minutes like just straight ahead and can conserve his energy according to the fixtures and that can be balanced out because he's used to the team. It's not like it's a new team he's entering. So that can be helped and it can still figure out we can balance it out week by week basis for
But that being said, so what will Klopp's center back pairing would be? Would it? Do you guys feel like is Van Dijk and Konate the best pairing that he should go? Let's not talk about the fitness and all that, but let's just talk about like his best center back pairing in the big games. And let's say like 2 months down the line when everyone's getting the match ready, a match fit. Do you think like Konate and Van Dijk is the way to go for Liverpool in the future, or do you still feel like Matip and or forgetting the Gomez? So Van Dijk and Gomez, because I really feel that Van Dijk will still be at the heart of the defense. He cannot be like, yeah, you can sit this game. It'll not be that. Like in the biggest of big games Liverpool will play this season, he will be the person who will be the first name on the team sheet.
Right.
I feel it's always best and for old time's sake good that we have Gomez and Van Dijk. But we can also like with City we learn one thing. If you want to play a proper test match and if you want to play a proper 38 game weeks match, you have to keep your options ready and you have to rotate the teams likewise. So it can be Matip, it can be Gomez, and it doesn't have to be a one team shielding their way through because this time we don't have a lot of signings and we don't have a great pool so that we can borrow players from. We don't have a great bench this time, like not in terms of defense, but in general. So what we have to depend on is rotation, and Klopp is someone who adapts well.
Hmm.
This time maybe we can see more of Matip and Gomez together. That is what I feel.
Well, if you're talking about pure, keeping everything aside, I think our best pairing right now, as everything stands, is still Van Dijk and Matip, right?
Okay.
Gomez has a bit of a it's not a big problem, but I think Van Dijk of course is better, but in the air, and I think also Matip is slightly better than him in the air, and Matip intercepts play much better than Gomez. This is not to say that Joe is a bad player. He's fantastic for his age, but I think that our best centre back pairing is still Virgil van Dijk and Joel Matip. I also think that Konate will be eased into the team, and also the fact that Konate is coming from a league. Personally, I have not seen a lot of Konate. I don't watch the Bundesliga, so
Hmm.
I can't comment on how good or how bad he is. He looks really nice. He looks really good. But again, I mean, these things you'll know once the season starts. So according to me, the best centre back pairing is still Van Dijk and Matip.
Sorry, I lost you for the last 2 seconds. So you're saying your best pairing was, sorry?
Yeah, so I'm saying that Konate is new and Gomez, what I said was, I think that our best centre back pairing, as everything stands, is still Van Dijk and Joel Matip.
Joe Matip, yeah, okay, yeah. So I was because I was my question was going to be that even I feel like Matip and Van Dijk are the probably the way to go for this at the start of the season. Konate,
Right.
I feel like he should slowly be integrated into the team because again, it's Liverpool being Liverpool. I think, and again, like I'm going to talk about the title, but I think they are the team that would challenge for the title, and it doesn't make sense to just put both of them together in the start, but slowly integrate them so that they can gel, and then probably and get that. And I think both of them have probably the kind of like a kind of similar personality, so it is good if one of the games that Van Dijk plays, and then other games where Van Dijk can be rested, he plays and he can get that experience of the Premier League. Because again, I do watch I think I do watch Bundesliga, but obviously the competitiveness in that league is definitely not as what you will get in the Premier League. Like even
Correct.
even a Norwich City can actually come to Anfield and defeat you. So that's one of
Yeah.
the things that will always be there. So oh, I think we have Shivangi back. Uh,
I'm sorry, there was a power cut.
oh, no problem. That's fine.
Okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think so. We were just discussing about like who will be Liverpool's best centre back pairing. But do you have any thoughts? I think we came up on a decision where we thought like Joe Matip and Van Dijk are the best pairing as of now. Did you have any thoughts on it?
I'm sorry, I am really sorry, but I think I'll disconnect. The internet is really bad and I can't really listen. So is it okay if
Oh,
I
okay.
disconnect right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's fine. That's
I'm
okay.
sorry, I'm sorry.
No problem.
No problem.
Yeah.
No issue.
So
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. So we were just talking about who the centre back pairing. So now let's come back to Konate. You guys have gotten Konate for 35 million pound fee. Can you just elaborate a little bit as to what he will bring in the team?
Okay. So if you look at Klopp, the kind of players that he, or in this case, defenders or centre
Hmm.
backs that he looks for, he would generally look for people who would read the play well.
Hmm.
Pace is obviously, and that's not just something that Jurgen Klopp looks for. Any modern coach, anyone who has that kind of ambitions, will look for a centre back which they have some pace. So um, you know, one thing that stood out, and this is again watching a little bit of his compilations plus his appearances for Liverpool so far, he comes across as someone who's very strong on the ball. He comes across as a ball playing centre back, as jargony as it may sound, but he comes across as someone who will link up with your defense, and in our case, Fabinho and your fullbacks.
Hmm.
What he brings to the table, I think, is a lot of strength, is a lot of interception based play, and again, the aerial ability, which we have to work upon, purely because Joe Gomez, like I said, he's coming back from a very serious injury. And the kind of injury that he's had, footballers don't even have those kind of injuries. It's more of a skiing injury, right? And you don't know how those things play out. So we anyway had to supplement, because last
Hmm.
season we went into the league with three senior center backs. We anyway had to we anyway had to augment there, and therein we went for Konate. So exciting player, but what he brings to the table, I think, a lot of pace, strength, and ball playing ability.
Okay. So a lot of talk about defense in our first
Yeah.
15 minutes on the video, but let's move our discussion forward for Liverpool and forward for our podcast as well. Obviously, Wijnaldum has now left,
Yes.
and there has been uncertainty about filling that position, and there have been no new signings as of now, and I don't even see any rumors filling in. Uh,
Hmm.
like good rumors. I'm not like obviously
Yeah.
rumors are there, but like really good rumors that a player who will a player that they're looking for to replace to replace Wijnaldum. I think I read somewhere that they were targeting Renato Sanchez from Lille, but
Yeah.
obviously I think those talks have broken down. So in that case, do you really feel right at this moment of time? Obviously, Liverpool struggled in terms of goals in the last season, but we all know why, because obviously because of the makeshift defense that Klopp was playing, so they didn't really have the creative players in the midfield. But do you feel we now that defense is all
Hmm.
set and providing they stay healthy and all that stuff, do you think that you guys still need a player in the midfield, or you still think that Thiago, Henderson are still okay and they're going to provide the creativity that they need for the front three?
Short answer, yes, we do need
Okay.
supplement. We
Hmm.
do need supplementing in the midfield, and I'll tell you the reason why. Now, if you look at our team, the way our team is set up, so you have Fabinho who plays the number six role, and then you have Thiago and Henderson. Uh, let's just list the options. You have Naby Keita, you have Oxlade-Chamberlain, you have Curtis Jones, right? These are the options that you have in the midfield.
Hmm.
Out of which Thiago is he does miss games through injury, right? Henderson not as much as Thiago, but again, you are talking about then overburdening, and I'll come to that. James
Hmm.
Milner is anyway a deputy for Trent, because of I mean, I don't want to get into a rant about FSG, but mismanagement. You did not have enough players to supplement Trent's position, or have a backup for him. And again, we can go. This is again going back to the defense, but let's stick to the midfield. Naby Keita, at this point, relying on Naby Keita is hope. It's not strategy, right?
Hmm.
It's been a long time. We have to accept that this transfer has not worked out, and we have to move on. However, if he still plays 15 games in this season, I'm not even attaching a goal, assist, anything. Right. I'm just saying that if he makes 15 appearances in this particular season, it's a success for me. Oxlade, same problem, right? Curtis Jones. Now here's the thing. Now Thiago misses a game through injury, through suspension, through whatever, or Henderson does, then you put in Curtis. Again, it's a 19-year-old kid. We are not the expectation here at Liverpool is to go for the title, go for the
Yeah.
Champions League.
Yep.
It's not finishing in the top four, or okay, go ahead and win the FA Cup, right?
Yep.
The point is that Gini Wijnaldum left, and there were hundreds of opinions about him, good, bad. I personally love Gini. I would have definitely retained Gini, but the point is he is now a PSG player. You did not replace him.
Hmm.
A guy who used to play 9 out of 10 games,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
You did not replace him. You can't expect to cut parts off from a machine and expect it to run the same way over and over again. So I know the answer became a very long one, but for me, we absolutely have to sign someone to replace Gini Ronaldo.
Are there, and Shivagi, I think you're back now, but like do you mind, do you have any transfers in your mind that that Liverpool should be targeting to replace Wijnaldum?
Shivangi has only one transfer in her mind.
Okay, so I am not very technically sound when it comes to transfers, but the
Okay.
one thing that I do understand is that we absolutely need to sign Mbappe to Liverpool.
I think I got a tip. I think I got a tip before that you were going to mention Mbappe in this video.
It's not I am doing this
शिवांगी
to further my
हमारे यहाँ
agenda. It is not an
हमारे यहाँ ना
agenda, okay?
हमारे यहाँ ना ट्रेंट का रिप्लेसमेंट इज ट्रेंट का बैकअप इज 35-year-old जेम्स मिलनर. ये एम्बापे.
And
Anyway, sorry.
like the only competitor, I mean, financially it can still happen because we are trying to save money here.
Hmm.
And it is very stupid on someone's part who is responsible to think that Genie can be replaced by Keita or Oxlade Chamberlain because they haven't proved themselves yet. To be very brutal about it. So I still think that the Saul saga might turn out to be positive, and there still might be a signing like there always is by the end of the window. Even last year, we did sign towards the very end, even when the game week started, post that. So we do need a player there, and if we do have a player there to replace Genie, we are rock solid again and good to go in relativity with the league that we have at present. Because I don't think even Man City can sign Kane and Grealish both, and
Yeah,
they have players who suffer too. Plus, even Manchester United has a team this time who has played a lot of minutes in Euro and before that. So, like how injuries go, players who are not well rested suffer.
yeah. I
That
think
is
I
the
think
bitter truth.
that's well put. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and talking about just talking about the contract of Henderson, because there's been a lot of talk about contract renewing about Henderson as well, and I think he having some talks with PSG. So I think there have been for sporting director, I think it's Michael Edwards who is big part of this summer transfer is involving retaining the club's elite players. I think Allison is expected to sign a new contract before the start of the new season, as well as Fabinho. I think Liverpool are also agreeing, lucrative deals for Van Dijk, Salah, and Sadio Mane. I think they have deals that run until the summer of 2023, so they have, I think, 2 years left on their contracts. I think fullbacks Trent and Robertson have a year longer. But they're obviously their importance in the team have obviously been recognized by Liverpool. So I think they are also needing of a new fresh contract from their perspective. But but what do you so like? But what do you think about the contract of Henderson? Obviously, contract negotiations are not going as expected or as planned,
Yeah.
and that's why the rumors have started that he might also leave. And I don't exactly remember when his contract runs. I think is it next year is when his contract
Yeah.
expires. So
Yes.
he's already started talks with other teams, and I think the most recent one was PSG. So what do you guys have to say about that?
So Henderson is a key player in the team that Klopp runs. He's just not the captain. He's also the one player that clicks Salah and Trent together. Like
Yeah.
most of the goals we have from our midfield and even forward the third line, when he was not there last time, the team suffered badly.
Yep.
So it is not questionable the role he plays in our team technically. Mentally, he is the captain, and that's it. So I don't think Edwards or Klopp would want to let go a player of this great importance. Yes, the contracts can take a toll, and the English media can make it the most ludicrous thing in the world possible. But I don't think we're going to be this rude or brutal or unethical about one of our key players. And there might be an extension towards the end of the saga.
Okay. So
He's too valuable to let go.
you still feel that this contract situation will run up until the next season. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Did you have any thoughts on this?
Look, I don't see Henderson signing a new contract this season, right?
Okay.
I think that eventually he will sign a new contract because look, there are a lot of factors here. What Shivangi said about him being so valuable. So if there is one thing about FSG, I mean they're not business wise they're not stupid, right? So they will give this guy a contract, and knowing Henderson, he will sign a new contract. Look, there is talk about PSG. There is also someone mentioned Atletico and all that. Which was the last major English player to leave England? I mean Trippier, but he was pushed out of the Spurs squad, right?
Yeah.
That I and there can be a another conversation on why they and Henderson will probably fit in better than the previous English players and all that. I get it.
Hmm.
The point is Henderson. I don't see Henderson leaving purely because he's too valuable to the squad, and letting him go or selling him will send out a very bad signal to the fans, to the squad, to the manager, to everybody, right? So I don't see him leaving at all. However, you're right. The situation is not exactly ideal. It should not have come to this.
Hmm.
But it also got affected by the Euros. He was away for 5 weeks, and Now he's on holiday and he's going to come back and have a discussion. Having said so, this probably next season or by January, I think, he'll sign the contract.
Okay.
Not this time.
Okay. So, and this is going to be my first question to you guys. And in the future podcast, when I do it with City and United fans, probably this is going to be a recurring question. But there are a lot of talk about, since now United has signed Varane, right? So there's a lot of
Right.
talk going around, and obviously Konate has come into Liverpool. Which pairing do you guys think is the best in terms of Stones Diaz, Varane, Maguire, and Van Dijk Gomez, or sorry, Van Dijk Konate, or Van Dijk Matip?
Van Dijk Gomez. And then the second is Van Dijk Matip. The third is Van Dijk Konate.
No,
According
but
to
in
you,
terms of all these three teams, which pair do you think has the best centre back pairing at this moment?
Van Dijk Gomez.
Okay, okay. And do you have a reason why?
They have actually put in all the efforts. Like they have the back data, the precedent of how they have played actually
Okay,
proves how good they are in field. And they
okay,
just don't give the technical support but the mental support too, which is very important if you want to win the league.
okay. And Nidhi, for you, it changes
Look,
or you still sticking with?
nah, for me, it would be Van Dijk and Matip. I know
Okay,
that you didn't mention Matip, but for me, it would be Van Dijk and Matip. And the reason for that, for me personally, and I would say that Diaz and Stone do come close, but I'll tell you why personally for me, and not because I'm a Liverpool fan, not only because I'm a Liverpool fan. You know, so the thing is, when you look, I mean, the stats are there to prove it, and we can go on about that. Here's the thing now: these two players, when they play, there is a lot of assurance, right?
mm-hmm,
When you have a guy like Van Dijk playing, the whole reason why Trent is providing so many assists or Robbo is bombing around the left wing is because there is that kind of an assurance, right? That those access work very well.
mm-hmm.
Robbo and Mane, and Trent and Salah, and that's down to these two guys. The theory that I'm going to say is that I know City plays better through the middle and all that. That's there, but I think that these two guys raise the game of everyone around them, including Salah and Mane.
Okay,
And I think in terms of interceptions and everything, and again we can go back to stats. Van Dijk is look. It's not even a question of bias. He's the best centre back in the world. Varane and Maguire, it looks good on paper, right? It looks good on paper. But again, we've not seen Varane in the Premier League, so I'm going to reserve
correct.
my judgment.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I think you're perfectly right. I was still, because even I feel like those two are the best centre back pairing as of now, just because of the time they have had in the Premier League. I'm not going to comment on City's pairing because obviously that was one season. I really don't know how Ruben Diaz is going to play this season. And
Yeah,
again, Stones played for a brief period. I have my thoughts. Maybe other people have different
yeah,
thoughts, but it's I feel like Stones had a brief period in the last season where he played well, but then he was doing a lot of mistakes towards the latter part of the season, and it can be towards anything, like maybe because Premier League was kind of already in the bag, and they were already focusing on these other things. So Stones wasn't playing a lot of games with Diaz. So I'm going to reserve my thoughts as well. But for now, if I have to answer this question, I would still say Liverpool centre back pairing is probably the best at this moment.
I'll tell you what. Now this season there will be a one more adjustment for the latter part of the 2019-20 season and 20 the entire 2021 season. These
Yeah.
players have played without crowds.
Yep.
Now crowds are going to come back, right? So there will be changes. There are certain players who play better with crowds around them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They do, and certain players
Yeah.
who don't,
Firmino.
Yeah.
right? Fabinho, most of your South American
Yeah.
players,
But
right?
but
So
but but City fans won't have that problem, right? Because they anyways
they had
just
they had
City
the home
slander?
advantage. They had the home advantage in all 38 games, right? So I mean that's why it was a cakewalk.
Okay, I think, but so just parting thoughts. What do you guys expect from this season from Liverpool? What are your expectations? What do you think will count as a successful season for Liverpool?
Shivangi, please.
Okay, so I think we can win the Champions League and Premier League this season. But
Okay.
because Manchester United has done good signings this time, and they might push for the FA Cup or the domestic cups,
Oh, come
but
on, man!
we have.
Give us the at least say that we're going to push for the Premier League.
I mean, you're going to win a trophy, like of course. I mean, you have always been good
Okay.
contenders in Premier
Yeah.
League, always finishing up third, always having a great gap from the first team on top. It is very nice of you to always qualify for Champions League, but you're not there yet to win a Premier League or a Champions League.
Okay.
We might just push for it because Klopp would want to do the back-to-back season thing again. Every player is just super enthusiastic because this might be the end of their tenure. This core team might shift in the coming seasons.
Okay.
So now they would want to give their 100% and push for everything that they have not.
Okay.
So yeah, Premier League and Champions League, winning the Champions League and Premier League. Yes.
Okay. Oh, you think that you guys can win the Premier League and Champions League both this season? Okay. Okay. Nidhi.
Look, I'm not as optimistic at this point. A lot depends on who is signed. For me, if we don't sign a replacement for Gini Wijnaldum, we are not winning either the Premier League or the Champions League or anything this season. I mean, I don't know what will happen and all. I'm not very good with predictions. Um, I think that if we sign a midfielder who's going to be available, there should be we should be in the running for the title. Um, in terms of expectations, we have to win either one of them. I mean, winning both, I don't think is going to happen. I don't think we have the squad for that. The playing 11 is really good, but again, you need squads to compete on both fronts. So
I think
I,
yeah.
I can't even remember the last time it happened. When did it happen? I think Bayern did it, perhaps,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So I mean, and Bayern. I mean, so I think that it all depends on who we sign. For me, if we don't sign a midfielder and we don't sign an attacker, we we don't we don't. I mean, we have hell to pay for again. Uh, that's my prediction. But if we
Okay.
do, then maybe there's a chance.
Yeah. I mean, still another 1 month to go. Hopefully, Liverpool brings in some new signings. And yeah, hopefully hopefully you guys have a stronger team for the remainder of the season. I think
Yeah.
that's it from our side. Thank you guys for coming and joining and putting out your Liverpool season preview. I think it was a great conversation with you guys. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Please make
you.
sure that you are subscribed to the Late Winner Show.
Yeah. So I know, and just putting before we conclude, we have some exciting news to share with you. We are going to launch our FPL show next week. So do stay tuned for that. We're going to clear out all the objectives that we have and what are we going to bring in that FPL show. So do stay tuned for that and do subscribe to our channel as well. Do follow us on Instagram and Twitter to get the news early before we even do the podcast. And obviously, talking about the FPL, Nidhi and his channel as well is doing a FPL giveaway or FPL league. I should say so. FPL league. Do please contact Nidhi and follow Menace in the Monk channel to get more details on that. I think you guys can definitely win a jersey at the end of the season. Whoever wins it. So and that's it. I think, and I'll leave my code here as well. So our league code here as well. So do feel free to join our league code. We don't have any prize money as of now, so maybe if you guys join, more people join. Maybe in the next season we might have a cash prize or something like that in the later in the next season. But yeah, that being said, again, thank you guys for joining. I think I had a great conversation. Maybe in the future we can have another Liverpool conversation towards the big games or just a mid-season review. And I
Absolutely.
will be will be glad to have you guys back.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thanks.
for having us.
All right, yeah, thank you guys.
Yes. Bye bye.